Hello, my name is Sheila Moore. Actually, I'm an adjunct professor or lecturer with Woodbury University, and also I am making a transition myself into the financial services business. So the topic today is reinventing yourself, but I like to think of it a little differently perhaps. Let me give you a little bit of understanding and background. Every once in a while in the business world, there's an attempt to try to figure out how many times people have changed jobs or some statistics to that effect. And the conventional wisdom is today that people will change jobs or at least change careers, let's start with that one, 5 to 7 times during their working life. Right now, it's estimated about 50% of the people say they're kind of dissatisfied with where they are or they're contemplating, maybe looking to make a change in their career. Lately, the Bureau of Labor Statistics came up with something that I thought was very surprising, a little shocking actually. Their estimation is that in today's world, a person might change from 10 to 15 times his position, meaning perhaps he would be in the same type of job, but with another employer. So if he was a concierge at a hotel factory, or not a hotel factory, a hotel, let us say, he might go to another hotel with that same position. But that's still quite a bit of change. One question that comes to mind is, how do you navigate that? How do you anticipate, without knowing what's going to happen in the future, that the time will come when you need to make some sort of change or some sort of alteration in what you may be doing? Many of us have spent years and a lot of money going through education, maybe at universities, maybe certification programs. We've prepared for something. Today, you can't really think that that is your path and you're one and done. That's just not going to happen, particularly, usually, right? And maybe you really don't want it to happen also. So here is the overall comment I would like to make. When you realize, perhaps, or you're confronted with a change, maybe you didn't even anticipate, or maybe you didn't want this change, keep in mind that the important thing for you would be, from my experience, are 2 things. And those 2 things are be flexible and be willing to enhance what you know. Those 2 things. So I think I can best explain this with a story. This is a true story, by the way. I have a cousin, I call him a cousin, Christopher is his name, and we've been friends for a long time. Now, Christopher is a very creative person, very much attuned, and has spent a great deal of his life in the music business and in studying music. So at some point he left Queens, New York, came out here to Los Angeles and went to UCLA, where he got a master's in music. And actually, one of his professors was Henry Mancini. Christopher aimed to be and is a composer. And in fact, he was, I think, fortunate, but also very talented to do this. Henry Mancini was doing some of the music for an older TV series called Dallas, very popular years ago. And sometimes Christopher was given the assignment to do some music for one of the episodes. But I have to tell you, that's not an easy life, right? You live by the gig, literally. And it's competitive, more than you might think. So nevertheless, he pursued it valiantly. And there were times when it was not an easy thing to do to get a commission, to get an assignment to do whatever, film score, TV score, whatever it may be. But Christopher is a person who understood, maybe intuitively, that you needed to be flexible and enhancement was always a good thing, and maybe innovative. Like many people in the artistic endeavor, he would take side jobs, okay? But they were side jobs, and there was something here and something there to generate cash flow. Also, when he composed, and this isn't that long ago, he would meticulously write out the scores for all the instruments. And you have to have some very beautiful calligraphy to do this. And he did it. And then it would be sent to some, I don't know the entire process, a master who would copy it and then produce the scores. Then what happened? Software. Software which allowed a composer to do it on the computer, but you had to know the software. So he undertook the effort to gather the money upon himself, buy this expensive software, learn it, and learn about doing compositions basically digitally. In the process, he decided he was going to learn consumer relations management, which was kind of an upcoming thing. He did that. In other words, he was enhancing his skills. He was building on what he did, but then he went further. At one point, when there was no cash flow coming in from composing, he approached banks. Now, you might think that major banks were already set with this, but the more medium-sized banks, maybe not so much. And basically, he presented himself as a person who could develop their customer relations management database. And he was hired. So he was hired to do that. And then at another point, he moved into Manufacturers Bank, which is a fairly well-known bank, in sales. And then, because he was willing to learn more, he was willing to explore more and learn a little bit more about finance, basic finance, lending, borrowing, he was given an assignment as an account manager. Now, why was that important in his progress of his life? Because it gave him a financial base. He used his skills that he developed for his music, moved into another area, I think for about 10 or 12 years, and built a substantial financial base to carry him. And now what is he doing? He's back to composition. He never really entirely left it, but now he has the wherewithal to go back to what he really loves to do, and for which he really has, I think, a very incredible talent. I've always admired and always been a little bit inspired by Christopher, because if I feel that I'm stuck or I feel uncertain about something, I look at this person who has understood that you just don't sit twiddling your thumbs. You become flexible and you build, you enhance what you know. Sometimes it may take you into a different area. But he's back at composition now, and I think those years in being a bank account officer and meeting a variety of different people helped him, believe it or not, in what he's doing now to market himself. I think it's an inspiration for all of us. We don't know with what we will be confronted, but be not dismayed, right? Be not dismayed. Know that you have the capability to not just be innovative. Those are nice words, and I like those words, actually. But you have the ability to think about ways in which you can be flexible and which you can enhance what you're doing. And it may lead you to a path you think is not connected, but it may be. It may be another path to get you to where your foundation was. If you want to change your foundation, you can do that too. It's going to take you more time, perhaps, but be not dismayed. It's an incredible world of opportunity, and it's for us to find out how to fit into that. So thinking about that one story, what can we learn from that perhaps? What can we take from that? I spent a good deal of my professional life in the finance arena. And not so long ago, I was in New York working in the institutional side, as they sometimes say, of finance. So financial services is defined in some ways by institutions, big companies, medium-sized companies that maybe service individuals, maybe service other institutional buyers, and then the retail side, which are people like financial advisors, financial planners. It's very interesting as I think about it. We have the attitude sometimes that if we go work for an institution, be it finance or something else, and as long as we do a reasonably good job, we might feel very comfortable. We might feel that everything will proceed as we learn about it and as we fit in for years to come. Maybe not so quickly. So when I was in New York, I worked for an asset management company. And this was a conventional type of company that created mutual funds. This was Mario Gabelli, as a matter of fact, Gabelli Asset Management Company. He had started his own little business fairly early on, and by the time I was there, he had open-end funds, what you call the conventional mutual funds, and closed-end funds. But it was getting tougher. There was a great deal more competition, and with the advent of ETFs, exchange-traded funds, which we did not have at Gabelli Asset Management Company, and other alternatives, it became not the sure thing. Even a very well-established business like Gabelli would face challenges, and people who were very versed in what they were doing would not necessarily survive the ups and downs of that business. In a business like a mutual fund company or a company such as Gabelli or Vanguard or any number, but I'll speak about Gabelli in particular, there would be times when assets under management would decrease, meaning more funds were coming out of the mutual funds, more money was coming out that was coming in to fund the mutual funds. Those were not easy situations. It's not just the individual who has to learn to be flexible and enhance what they do. It's also very often companies, and that's been a big effort in the financial services business. Many, many changes about the structure of those companies and questions about who are they serving and how are they serving them. So maybe the moral of the story for us is realize that not only do we need to be flexible and enhance what we're doing, we may work for a company that has that same consideration. And that's another level of being adaptable and reinventing yourself as well.